Welcome to Becoming a Principal, the podcast for aspiring educational leaders. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Matt. Our mission is to inspire and support educators considering leadership roles so they can add value to the communities they serve.
Nice. How you doing today, Matt?
Great, man. Yourself?
Fantastic.
Yeah, you ready for this?
I'm ready for the weekend.
Yeah, how was your week?
Amazing. So many good things. Wasn't it?
It was a good week. There's some new learning in there, right? Like some first times for a few things.
There was a few.
Yeah, that was good.
I think every week kind of presents one little wrinkle.
But don't you hope for a wrinkle?
Every time.
Actually, I do. When I go to work in the morning, I think, obviously I'm hoping to be able to tackle the things in my mind that I want to address or that I want to work on. But I do always hope for some wrinkles just so I can learn how to deal with those wrinkles.
The beauty of this job
right?
is we get that opportunity very often.
It's a good way to frame it.
Right? We get this special opportunity. It's a privilege to have new learning.
Something comes to us, you didn't even know that was an option. You're like, oh, yeah. How are we going to handle this one? It's good.
It's so true.
I like the on-the-spot problem solving. Really.
And the neat part is working with newer administrators, not yourself. I mean, people that will reach out that just started the role.
Yeah,
We have some colleagues and friends, right, that are in those roles. And they will ask questions to us as if we know all the answers. And we're like, hold on a second. That's new.
Yeah.
What should we do there, right? I think the learning just never stops. And situations just keep presenting themselves that you just never dreamed of.
Well, I think that's true because I was talking to one of our colleagues who's been an administrator for 14 years, and he's had new stuff this year. It's just that's the beauty of it.
It's the nature.
On the spot problem solving.
It's the best.
It's a good way to. It's a good way to have a career. I like that.
It sure is. Yeah, it's wonderful, and we're lucky we get to do this too. So. Yeah. The idea for the show today is really to think about and discuss the concept of thinking about the good old days or the back in the day mentality as it relates to educators. So I know I get stuck sometimes thinking about, what would it have looked like, my high school experience looked like, and how would have this been handled, when I was sitting in those seats as students, and what that experience was like for myself and how that sort of impacts what I think about education now. So I think it is easy to get stuck in that when something might not be going necessarily the way that you would expect, or the common trope of kids these days sort of thing.
Yep.
And it's easy to think back, back in my day, that would never would have flown, right? And maybe people might feel could be a lack of accountability for students. Again, like I said, kids these days. So I guess my question for you to start off is have you heard that type of thinking before, or been maybe, let's say, guilty of thinking that way yourself?
Yeah, well, I definitely have heard that type of thinking. I don't think I would lump myself in there, but yeah, of course we hear that, and I think it's not all bad. Let me start with some positives first that I've been thinking about. Okay, so first. I think we have to think about the context which we're operating. And I think everyone is coming from a place of, this would help kids, right? I think we can get that out of the way and say, all people, no matter if they're trying something new or if they're bringing out something that's, been around for a really long time, they're there to help students.
You're talking about educators.
I'm talking about educators.
Okay,
is that...
No, yeah, that's right. That's the context,
okay? Yeah. So... the second thing is I think sometimes that approach is going to work for some students, right? I think that we know not every kid is connected with every adult in the building, but I would say that there are different teachers that every kid does connect with, whether that be a really awesome seasoned teacher or a really awesome new teacher who they both have very different styles. Not that and I'm not trying to say the seasoned teacher is bringing out all the old stuff, because there are new teachers that do that too.
For sure.
Right? But I'm just thinking that there are adults in the building who teach different subjects, who have different levels of experience, who they connect with certain kids, and the hope is that there are caring adults for every child in the building.
I think that's still the same today as it was before.
Still the same.
Yeah.
So whether they're like kind of that, they have that old school thinking, we'll frame it like that.
Yeah, sure.
Bringing out old approaches, that does connect with some students.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously a place for it. It's not like a either or sort of
It's
thing.
not
I
either
think,
or. No.
Right? Maybe what about as it relates to like standards for students? Like, do you think that sometimes people think about like, oh, like 10 years ago the standard was here and now the standard is not quite there anymore? Do you think people ever talk like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
100% they do.
Yeah.
And we do see change in policy, right?
Yeah.
So we have a uniform school. When you and I were in school, the rules around uniform, as an example, were much different than they were today,
Absolutely.
right? It was like they were much stricter.
They were.
Much more prescribed. And I would say, like, I'm okay with the way they are today.
Right.
Not everyone is,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah, there's a different level of comfort based on one's personal experience.
That's right.
Right? And the impact of that, I'm not really sure at this point what the impact of that is.
Yeah, and that's maybe not the greatest example, but
No, but you're right.
yeah.
Right? Like, how do you kind of justify the change there, right? And then I think there's a bit of a thought that like students these days are different. And I don't know what you think about that. Do you find, like, how different do you think kids really are these days? Like, do you really think they're that different?
No.
I know, me
To
either.
be honest. However, like I'm not in the classroom, but and I know I can appreciate that. I hear that more kids are struggling as a result of COVID and social
sure.
media and things like that. So in that respect, yeah, like we know that more students are struggling with mental health,
Absolutely.
and other issues. However, on the flip side, like they're still kids. So how much different is this generation than ours?
Yeah, not much. They're operating in a very different context, in
Yeah.
a very different world.
Yeah.
I definitely, you got to think about the youth growing up with this technology and how it's impacted their mental well-being,
Yep.
how they experience the world,
Yep.
the information that they're being fed, the algorithms, like all these things. I think it's actually, for sure, it's contributed to poor mental health for students. Like, I think that's pretty well documented.
Yep.
But their inclinations, like to just be kids, I think they're very similar to what we had. I feel we were a little luckier, more lucky in a sense that we didn't have these other things that we were dealing with. We could make mistakes.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, we learn from our mistakes,
Yep.
right? We're definitely in a time of like hyper transparency, hyper sensitivity, hyper accountability. It's very different the way our students are operating now, and probably to their detriment in some ways. Like, the world around them has changed so much.
Right.
I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
Oh, yeah, of course. I just think that, so there's philosophical difference, right, on how we're talking about people's approach. Right?
that's right.
And not every approach is going to work with every kid. I think we can say that.
Absolutely. There's
The
no
approach
no surefire way.
That's right.
Yeah.
The approach that I have is not going to work, and maybe a different approach is going to work. That obviously happens.
Yeah.
Okay, all that being said then, how does applying old models of thinking or being too nostalgic, thinking about our own experience, impact the way we experience our students now?
Yeah, I think that for me, it would be if we expect our students to be like we were like, or what we perceived our experience to be. I think that's a key difference. I think sometimes our perceptions, they can be a little cloudy, right? But what we perceived we were like, if we apply that to our students now, I think some people might feel like they're disappointed because they feel like their perception of what their experience was at a higher standard, and then now we've maybe lowered standards or changed our standards. So I think that is the danger in applying that nostalgic thinking to what your experience should be like what everyone else has to experience. Mm-hmm. And for some people it might be the opposite. They might feel slightly different, but like to think that nothing has evolved in 15, 20, whatever, 30 years from our schooling experience, it's not really fair. But I do think there's a danger in thinking too much about what our experience was like and applying it to what we have now, just because so much has changed, and the learners change, and our circumstances have changed, and our world's completely different. The way we, access information before, basically, the teacher gave us the information, right? That's where we got our information. Now we get information wherever we want, right? It's information's at our fingertips. So it's almost completely revolutionized how we should be approaching education, I think, the changes in our society. So by applying that like nostalgia of what we think we should be doing based on what we did 20 years ago, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think another context in which we're operating from an educator side is like the need for improvement, right? And I think the way we were taught doesn't speak to every kid in the classroom.
You're right.
And I don't think everyone can be successful in those classrooms.
That's right.
And when we compare graduation rates from when we were graduating in the 90s to now, the grad rate is like 20% lower than it is now. And
That's
of
right.
course, I know there's different programming and things
Yeah.
like that for students. And that's what's needed too. Like we should also say that.
That's right.
Right? Like we're not going to have the same level of success if we go back to the way school was, right? And we're thinking about challenging our educators and challenging ourselves to think, how can we continue to serve more and more people and reach more and more students? And I think that's an important thing that we have to acknowledge is happening. And that's hard on people, right? Because we're always asking them to improve.
Yeah.
And I know some people feel like that's a big ask,
Absolutely.
right?
And if you think about educators as a class, as a group, there is a bit of a homogenous experience, right? They went to university,
Yeah.
kind of walked the same path, so you might expect that that's what you're trying to teach others to do as well. And, I can speak for myself in thinking that pathway options when I was in high school, I felt there just seemed like a lot less options. It's like you're either going to go this way or you're going to go that way. And I feel like now there's just so many directions that you could go for students. And just it's kind of amazing, actually, all the directions they could go. So the emphasis on getting let's even just say like a university degree I think it's very different now than it was before.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's flipped so much that people would say they want, their students or students themselves are thinking, I want to get into society and start earning some money in a discipline or maybe a trade or something that I can get into quicker than a bunch of additional years of schooling that's going to come at a significant cost, right? To the point that we've received, obviously, PD on the topic, right, to help students understand the wide range of pathway options that they have, because there's way more than we had.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess teachers maybe didn't have that same experience, right? So all of us sort of went a similar direction, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And I think we can't expect that everyone's going to. We can't expect that we're going to have the class that we were a part of in high school either, right? Because again,
Do you think people's memories are great though? Like, okay, so first of all,
yeah,
I'm thinking about classroom management or behavior.
yeah,
Like I think about this often. I'm thinking like, is it really worse now? And I don't know if I agree that it is. Like if I could challenge listeners to think about all the classes they had. Did you ever have a class clown? Did you ever have someone in there that was doing something they shouldn't be doing?
Absolutely, right?
Did you ever have someone in there that every day you're like, oh man, this
absolutely.
kid's hijacking the class? Or
right.
sometimes you like it? Because
Yeah.
I had friends like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I was part of it, but I was a little part of it.
Yeah,
Right? So I don't know. Do we just forget that part?
I think we do.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
do. Right?
Yeah.
The mischievous things that happen in class, like trying to get one on the teacher to be
Yeah.
funny. That was a big part of my educational experience that I can kind of remember, but I have to dig deep to remember that when I really call it to account. Like, oh yeah, there were times, like for sure, that was going on. So it's not surprising that kids are still being kids in my mind. But
Right. And also, you weren't in like a workplace level class.
right.
In an open level class the same way. And I'm not saying those classes are poor either. Like, I'm not
course not.
trying to say that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, those classes may have a different experience than
For sure.
what you were doing, sitting down and listening to a lecture, which doesn't really happen anyway.
That's right.
Anymore anyway.
That's right.
So I think we need to dispel the myth that, like you were saying, the classes was a lot different, right? Were a lot different.
So different, right? We think that they were so different, but I'm not so sure that they were. I think students still want to try and have fun. When they're maybe not fully engaged, they can get a little funny and try some different things depending on who might be in their class. I think that's always kind of been the case. I don't think it's much different.
And I'm going to take a line that you shared with our staff this week too at our meeting, and you explained to everyone that you love going into classrooms because you're seeing students in a different way, right? They're coming down to the office, and we have to talk to them about a certain context, which isn't always great, right? But then you go and you see them in their class, and they want to do well, and they're engaged.
100%.
And maybe not all the time, some of them, right? But they're there engaging. They're trying to earn credits. They're trying to do either the best they can, or they're trying to get by, right? And both are valuable.
That's right.
And just to see that and be like, okay, like things are good.
That's right.
Right? And great things are happening in every classroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you have a class that's large size, it's easy to lose sight of like all the people that are the beneficiaries of a great environment and a great positive learning environment, because you just got so many things to focus on as an educator. But that's one thing that strikes me all the time in this role is like how much students want to learn and actually want to do well for themselves. They don't always show it in the way that we would expect them to show it, but like there's a part of them, whether deep down or right on the surface there, that really does want to do well and does want to be successful. That's what I'm experiencing when I'm talking to some students that sometimes struggle. I don't know if that's the same for you, but
of course, they all want to do well. And some people just want to get a credit.
That's right. That's doing well
in certain classes, but for them, that's the goal, is to earn credits.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think we can say that's a lot less valuable than people who are striving to get an 80.
That's right.
Either. Right. So,
is there anything from the past that you think we should bring back? Like, I know we've become like obviously an overly litigious society, and we maybe some of our experiential learning opportunities are just different now.
Yep.
But I often think back. I had a vice principal when I first started teaching. He used to tell me about some of the classes he had. So now we're going back, we're going generation and another generation, right? But he would say that in his high school they had a unit on duck hunting. No, I'm being serious.
Right.
And duck hunting. And this is a school trip. They get in the car of one of our other students, take their rifles, and head like an hour and a half south of here to do some duck hunting. And it's like, this is for real. This actually happened. You don't believe me?
Not
like
really,
in the 70s.
In the 70s, They go duck hunting.
I don't know. If someone's listening that knows that happened, I'd love to know, because we've definitely changed our protocol and our procedure about what is permissible and not permissible. And sometimes that's holding people back from maybe a neat experience. But maybe that is also out of the realm of like schooling. Maybe that doesn't need to happen at school.
Yeah.
Right? So it's changed a lot, our experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Well, about that one.
Okay, not duck hunting.
No, I understand what you're saying. The biggest thing for me is like how you're building relationships in the class, and I just feel like not everything needs to be online. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right. And like I'm such a tech guy too, and I love the technology, and I love bringing it into my own classroom, but I don't see the need for it all the time.
That's right.
And I would get kids talking to each other more.
And I think we kind of did ourselves a disservice during COVID in the reliance on tech, always tech and screens.
Yeah.
And I feel like we asked educators to go and shift in this direction, right? And so they made a lot of resources quickly to accommodate that need at that time. And then now it's like, hey, okay, that was great for them, but now we want to try and get back to the less.
Yeah. Do we want to go and walk by every classroom and see Chromebooks open and laptops open?
Sometimes, but it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't need
That's
to be.
Right.
And we would hope that people feel that they can still serve the class the way they need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is that, especially there's momentum building, and we're actually going to have a guest on in a few weeks that's going to talk about like cell phones and their impact on the brain and the teenage brain. But yeah, it's easy to rely on tech as an answer. But like that, you don't need that to have a good experience in learning, right?
What about you?
What part?
What are you going to bring back?
Bring back from like back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're going to go duck hunting again. I think that's probably not going to happen. But I think it'd be nice if there was a little. I don't want to say less transparency. I think transparency is really great, but I feel like we're getting to a time where it's a lot. It really is a lot on the educator. And I think the connectedness of like students to their families through the day is not always great.
I don't know how healthy it is for the students.
Yeah,
too, right?
like student development, right? And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's. I'm experienced. I'm sure I'm going to experience it too with my my children at some point. But like kind of like a codependency happening where I feel like it's not just the student that we're always telling the student like the phone, but like are people reaching out to them at home, like checking in? Also, that's pulling them into that two-way communication with somebody at home. How healthy is that experience? Like I remember when I went to school, we didn't have phones. In high school, I got one near the end of high school, but like I didn't talk to my folks. Like I in the morning, yep, and then when I got home, yes.
Right.
And the time between then was just me experiencing the world, And I feel like I would hope that for our kids now. I'm not sure that they get it. I don't know if they can avoid it.
Yeah, no.
I'd love to see that back.
I think that's tough, and I think that's not just a problem with students or like an issue of students.
Right.
It's an issue with families.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see that back. And I think we're working towards that. Like I know I've been a part of a few trips that were like outdoor ed trips, hiking, camping trips. And I think our youth, when they experience that, are like, they get like a whole reset. And the connecting with nature obviously is wonderful. Mm-hmm. But to be away from the constant pinging of the phone is a real great like reset for them. Like, wow, like they're actually just out there touching life instead of being connected to the phone, right? So there's a lot of merit in that. So yeah, I could say if I could go back to never using my phone like during the day, that'd be so great.
Yeah, I'd be in for it.
And the students too, and staff too. Feel like they got to always check their email. Yeah, it's such a pain. Yeah, what a drag.
Hey, we talked about that. Don't let the email be the to-do list, right?
What did they do before? Like I'm wondering, staffs, like do they just put like little like snail mail in the mailboxes? Like if they need to get a message across, I'm being honest.
They must
before
have.
email.
It goes in the courier.
I'd love to know. No, to the staff. Like, is it just a PA announcement?
It's a PA announcement. Send it. Put it in the mailbox for the end of the day. You gotta go check your mailbox.
How'd they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it easier? That's probably better.
Probably better.
Yeah, better work.
We got a lot less emails from you then.
Yeah, I know. How would I send my update? I know it'd be tough.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add today?
I guess the last thing is where do we go from here? So what should we be focusing on? If you were to like just give a quick direction of where you think our energy could be best spent to help students move forward now, what things would you be focusing on, I guess?
Well, I think the big thing is no matter what philosophy you're using, right? What school of thought you're drawing on, whether it's you're thinking about your own experience or somebody who's trying new things to engage kids. I think the context has to be what's the best for these kids in front of me, right? No matter what. And if your approach isn't working and you're finding that you're having conflict, you're not reaching every student, then you have to go and reach out to somebody else for a little bit of support, right? Whether like you're not the right person for that, speaking from like an administrative lens, not from a classroom teacher lens, right? But from an administrator lens, like thinking about like who else can help this student? Like what other tools do I have, or who else is on my team who has a different approach that could help them?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think just to add to that, I think it's important to say that I 100% wholeheartedly believe the kids are all right. The kids are unbelievable. Yeah. Like time and time again, we're getting evidence of just unbelievable stuff that students are doing, and their ideas, their ability to like execute a plan, to communicate a vision. I think I'm always blown away by
and the work that they're producing. Yes,
unbelievable.
Yes.
Super creative. They're using the tools that now exist that we never had, but they're using them in a way that's just so productive. And I think sometimes we do lose sight of how great that is, and I think the future's in great hands. Great hands. Like when we think about our students here that spoke at our staff meeting the other day.
Yep.
Like they just were brilliant.
It's an impressive group of people.
Right? Commanded the room, had a little fun. Like they're speaking to...
Very skilled, right?
Incredible. And there's tons of examples of that. So I think if people are out there worrying about our state of our youth, I agree there are some barriers to living a healthy life right now in terms of our society we're living in, but I am really excited about the future, and I think we're in great hands with the next generation. You agree?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Okay, Wicked, that's it.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the Becoming a Principal podcast. We are grateful for you to have spent time with us today, and we hope we've been helpful in some way. Be sure to check out our Instagram at Becoming a Principal Podcast. Have a great day, everyone.